If you look very closely on a map, you will see one of the little islands in what was called the West Indies. San Domingo was his name. Many years ago, when Toussaint Louverture became its hero. When Africans were kidnapped and sold to Western shores, they were first brought to these islands and whipped and tortured. Forced to cut the cane to the whip's stinging tune, many escaped to the hills to become the famous Maroons. As the Maroons from the hills began to resist, the brothers in the fields also raised their fists. The struggle both began with more felt than seen till Toussaint Louverture came on the scene. A leader he was, and a genius at that, as he made the Black Army sharp as a crack. The resistance blacks waged put fear across the seas, for their purpose in life was to set the island free. Louverture, Christophe, and Dessalines, we should know, led this great revolution in San Domingo. Their struggle was to remove oppression from their land and to build a Black republic where dignity might stand. So Toussaint Louverture, to set his island free, outwitted the Spanish, the British, and the French armies. And because the Blacks were winning, France was forced to sell almost half the land America boast of so well. Because Toussaint really put those French in a pinch. From the British, he got what he wished. The army of Spain, Toussaint put in pain. Now control is in the Black man's domain. Louverture, Christophe, and Dessalines, we should know, led this great revolution in San Domingo. Their struggle was to remove oppression from their land and to build a Black republic where dignity might stand. But in every great genius, there is a tragic flaw. Louverture's flaw was that he held the French diplomacy as law. So because he put his trust in his enemy's word, he viciously was tricked into France. He was lured. As he died in that cold, damp French dungeon cell, Dessalines continued to struggle and sent the slavers to hell. Now, no more toiling for another person's gain. No more whips to cut that cane. And because they strived for a complete victory, they changed the island's name to become Haiti. Louverture, Christophe, and Dessalines, we should know, led this great revolution in San Domingo. Their struggle was to remove oppression from their land and to build a Black republic where dignity might stand. But this first Black republic in the Western Hemisphere would be ruthlessly destabilized over the many years. So we must always keep in mind the struggle is free and return the island Haiti to what they fought for it to be. Return the island Haiti to what they fought for it to be. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and advocates for justice, my name is Nkechi Taifa, Director of the Reparation Education Project, and I want to first thank Dr. Angelique Walker-Smith and the ADNA Pan-African Working Group and others for organizing this side event to the third session of the United Nations Permanent Forum for People of African Descent on this issue of profound significance, Haiti. It is with a profound sense of solidarity and urgency that we come together to stand with our Haitian brothers and sisters in their ongoing struggle for justice and self-determination. And I'm thrilled to join this auspicious panel and share my perspective regarding the Sankofa Pan-African Global Advocacy Agenda in Haiti on the issue of reparatory justice. First, Sankofa, go back and fetch it, to recover that which was lost, to rediscover, reclaim, and rebuild. Yes, we are in the era of Sankofa. What Sankofa is reflected in my opening story poem from my book, Shining Legacy, Story Poems for the Young, so Black Heroes and Heroines Forever Will Be Sung, that was banned by the Central York School District in 2020. We must acknowledge the historical injustices inflicted upon Haiti. In 1804, Haiti, through its heroic revolution, became the first independent nation in the Caribbean to break the chains of enslavement. However, this victory came at a steep cost. Haiti was forced to pay hefty reparations to France, the very nation that enslaved its people, in exchange for recognition for its independence, intentionally plunging the new nation into economic hardship. Indeed, this extortion by France has been characterized as the greatest heist in history, an unparalleled act of theft that continued all the way up through the year 1947. And despite Haiti's resilience, the legacy of this historical injustice continues to impact the nation today. What would have been the result had reparations been paid to Haiti instead of France? What if there had been even an attempt at atonement for the genocidal crime against humanity of this first Black republic in the Western Hemisphere? What if Haiti had received what was due to build their country? Rather than reparations, Haiti faced persistent destabilization, both internally and externally. United States interventions, including military occupations and political interference, further exacerbated Haiti's challenges as the country today continues to grapple with political turmoil and economic instability. Indeed, throughout Haiti's history, the United States has frequently intervened politically, often to serve its own interests, including supporting dictators favorable to American policies and undermining democratically elected leaders perceived as contrary to United States goals and objectives. These interventions, including the deployment of questionable UN missions criticized for their effectiveness and legitimacy, have destabilized Haiti politically, economically, and socially, contributing to cycles of violence, weakened governance structures, and a hindrance to the nation's development. In some, such interventions reflect a complex history of foreign interference that has deepened Haiti's challenges rather than alleviating them. What if reparations had been paid to Haiti rather than France? What if there had been even an attempt at atonement for the genocidal crime against humanity of this first Black republic in the Western Hemisphere? What if Haiti had received what was due to build their country? As we navigate the complexities of Haiti's political landscape, let's take just a moment to touch on CARICOM's recent initiatives in facilitating the formation of a government of national unity as a step towards stability and democratic renewal in the country. As part of a Pan-African global advocacy agenda, I believe CARICOM's intentions are noble and aimed at fostering inclusivity and progress. But based on the sordid and destructive history of foreign interventions in the country, it is imperative that the collective we and the global Black community, that we remain vigilant against any actions that undermine the sovereignty and self-determination of Haiti. Thus, it is essential that the involvement of CARICOM, of which Haiti is a part, be seen as a trusted facilitator of dialogue and consensus building amongst Haiti stakeholders and guided by principles of respect for the promotion of Haitian-led solutions and ensuring that the aspirations and the voices of the Haitian people are at the forefront of all decision-making processes. Even the presence of gangs in Haiti, while undeniably associated with violence and criminality, reflects a complex reality rooted in socioeconomic disparities, historical injustices, and political instability. What if reparations had been paid to Haiti rather than to France? What if there had been even an attempt at atonement for the genocidal crime against humanity of this first Black republic in the Western Hemisphere? What if Haiti had received what was due to build their country? In sum, if Haiti had received reparations from France upon its independence, rather than being burdened with that unjust debt, the trajectory of Haitian society would unquestionably have been profoundly different. With reparations, Haiti could have invested in infrastructure, education, and healthcare, fostering economic stability and development. Reparations could have bolstered Haiti's political sovereignty, allowing the nation to resist external interference. Investments in education and healthcare would have improved living standards and reduced poverty, leading to greater social equity and cohesion. And reparations could have supported efforts to preserve Haiti's rich cultural heritage, strengthening national identity and pride. Overall, had Haiti received the reparations it deserved for the atrocities of enslavement and colonialism from that crime against humanity, it could have not only emerged as a prosperous, newly independent nation itself, but could also have served as a refuge and beacon of hope for freedom, prosperity, and resilience throughout the Pan-African world. Louverture, Christophe, and Dessalines, we should know, led this great revolution in Saint Domingo. Their struggle was to remove oppression from their land and to build a Black republic where dignity might stand. But this first Black republic in the Western Hemisphere will be ruthlessly destabilized over the many years. So we must always keep in mind the struggle of the three. And with reparations, return the island Haiti to what they fought for it to be. Thank you very much.